This is Star Wars Marathon, which is the podcast that we started doing, and we were going to do it with the Marvel ones, but now we are not going to do that. We're going to do something else you'll see next month. But before we come up with a brand new idea for a podcast, so Ethan doesn't just say they're all the same every week, we're doing 2 films which you can't say are the same because they're made by different people. It's the Star Wars 7 and 8. So this is the 2015 The Force Awakens.
Oh, when you say that, but the 7th one tries to be the same as like every Star Wars film before.
You've said that now, Johnny. That point is now banned. No one else is allowed to say that.
But that's my main complaint with this film.
I know.
If I can't.
Ethan, it's a joke.
I know.
So it was the soft reboot of Star Wars, sequel / I'd say it's more of a reboot than a sequel.
It's literally just a sequel though.
Yeah, but it is basically a reboot.
Right, fair enough. So it's a sequel that reboots it.
It's a soft reboot.
Yeah, because they just rebooted the original film, didn't they?
It's a soft reboot. it acts as a sequel and a reboot. Soft reboot. Jurassic World, soft reboot. Anyway, it's like Creed, soft reboot.
System refresh as well. You know, you got rid of all of the what is now Legends as well, along with this.
Yeah, 2015 was the year of the soft reboot, man. The best one of them is Creed, but this one came out, and then we got The Last Jedi, which is the follow-up, which we have actually reviewed on this podcast. But so we probably won't go as in depth on that one. But I think we should talk about how our opinions have changed, reflecting upon the film, because it's been a year since we saw it and talked about it. So that'll be more of a reflection and see if our opinions have changed since when we initially reviewed it. But yeah, we'll start with The Force Awakens, the 7th Star Wars film. I guess if you're doing a timeline like we've done, there's 2 ones that have been shoved in the middle. But yeah, this is the follow-up. Luke Skywalker has vanished. So you guys like this film? In general, do you guys like this film?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, I guess it's
pretty. Yeah, it. To be fair, you have to also appreciate the context of the time of just like a good Star Wars film coming out. It's like, oh man, they can do it again. You know, they can not shit the bed like intensely in like a spurge that was the prequels, and yet you could make the argument that like, well, why is Hollywood just in this such of like this reboot sort of trend? You know, why don't they just do new things? Like Star Wars, you could have stopped after like the original trilogy. You wouldn't have lost that much, to be fair. Like some of the later films are good. We have done spin-offs in the past of this podcast, but I don't know. I think on its own, like even rewatching it like post Star Wars sort of coming back hype, I think it holds up quite well. I think it is pretty enjoyable, and I do like the new cast quite a lot. And I think that's the sort of main strength of this film, because it does take this sort of similar plot structure as previous films, and just sort of put a new layer of paint on it, which is quite good. It's quite nice paint.
The red letter media kind of theory of you can have the story, the characters, and the emotion, and this is a character and emotion led film, and it kind of just doesn't give a shit about the story. I feel like this it came out, everyone really liked it, and then there was like a backlash and everyone hated it, and now I think we've gotten to the point where it's like it's okay to like look back fondly on this film. I mean, it's still a very good film. It's a very good performance. It's some good interesting ideas. Of course, it does play it a little bit too safe, but judging by the reaction to The Last Jedi, I think maybe people actually liked it.
To be fair, though, I'm not sure. I think like with 7, a lot of people like that. I'm not sure which complaint was stronger, because between people saying Episode 7 played it too safe and people saying Episode 8 was like a bit too out there. I think 8 had like a more dedicated, like more vocal minority that was like, oh, this is really like going too far. Whereas 7, it was a more like wider opinion that like, hey, this is just kind of a reskinned Episode 3 or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I mean, I could see both being valid complaints, but I think that this duo of the 2 out of 3 of the new trilogy does well in spite of them, in my opinion.
It's a weird thing where I think of this 8 and Rogue One. Like, I don't think that many people have seen. It's weird. Not many people have seen Solo that I've spoken to. But of the first 3 films that Disney made, you tend to like 2. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I think they will have their own like merits. This is definitely, in terms of feeling, this is probably I don't know, because Rogue One has a lot of elements of Star Wars, but in terms of capturing what made it great, I think this one does a pretty good job of modernising Star Wars.
Yeah.
Of course, like towards the end of the film, it's not as good. I feel like the whole like another Death Star didn't really work. It didn't have to be that. It could have just been a planet.
It is like the third time they've done that. And to be fair, it was kind of, I totally have forgotten when the other Death Star showed up as well. So like it was already played out like after the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's quite fun. I like it. Don't really have too much to say about it because
my feeling with this film is that it was glorious for me watching it for the first time because it was like the first Star Wars I could see. Well, first new Star Wars I could see in a cinema, and so that was sort of magical in a way, and it was a very good experience seeing it for the first time. But seeing it for the second time, it just didn't particularly hold up for me.
Had you seen The Last Jedi at that point?
No, I think because I saw it for the second time, like in the build up to seeing The Last Jedi.
It's weird because for me anyway, it's weird. This is one of those films, along with The Amazing Spider-Man, which isn't a good film, that I have just seen so many times. Like it's just always on. I don't know how I've seen it at the same time, or maybe I just remember it because I feel like beat for beat I know this film well. Like in terms, especially with like the jokes, because obviously this is just like I think when I was talking about The Last Jedi, I said it's better than The Force Awakens, which is just a remake of Star Wars with jokes. It is a bit more than that, but essentially this is like what if we did Star Wars, like but for modern audiences, using kind of the modern techniques of J.J. Abrams and like the comic stylings of the Marvel movies and stuff, which for the most part are good. I mean, I like that Marvel are making. I'm getting my Marvel opinions out on this one as well because we're not doing them. Like I like that Marvel are now like taking more risks. I think the Russos are some of the best directors working. I feel like their films are pretty much like flawless.
I think it would surprise no one if Disney had Star Wars and the MCU crossover.
Tony, you have too much faith in capitalism. Like
I said it would surprise no one.
Yeah.
Your faith in capitalism disturbs me.
I feel like the jumping off point that this film, like the point in which this film started and the questions it left were interesting the first time you see it, but then you realise that he didn't really know what he was doing, and they become eminently less interesting, which is what you have to applaud The Last Jedi for like turning Snoke into like a bit of character development for the one interesting character in this film, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is. I will say that this mostly a spectacle. I feel, and like because I don't know. I feel like that's just what it. Just playing safe. Like that's what would be the obvious thing to do. You know, just have a really big budget and a lot of talent on the film. But I also feel like in a better job than the prequels did. Like it expands on a lot of new Star Wars ideas. Like not that many, like not you know, I wouldn't say it's in terms of like episode 4, 5, fuck's sake, I can't do maths. Episode 5 like expanded, you know, like what the Jedi were in like a really interesting way. This has a lot of cool new things, but it's not like it's super like out there. Like one of the like this like, you know, it added, you know, even simple things like Kylo Ren's lightsaber having a cross guard. Like that's such a simple idea that is so cool.
Yeah.
And like the first first trailer for this where he does that sort of lunge, like he has a really cool like stance that's like low and like animalistic and it's like almost well balanced. But it looks really aggressive and he just like lurches his lightsaber outwards and like beat with the music, like his lightsaber ignites and then the cross guards come out and you're like, oh my god, this is really cool, which is, you know, the sort of feeling of like wonder that, you know, Star Wars is great for.
It has a great feeling, definitely around Kylo Ren's character. There's just a kind of always great atmosphere whenever he's on stage. Definitely when you're watching it in a cinema, just the sound effects and the visuals, there's just some almost kind of like crackling energy around him.
Yeah.
I remember.
He's a great character, but I feel like his kind of quest to try and like essentially like I know he changes in The Last Jedi, but he wants to kind of revert the status quo to be like Darth Vader, finish what he started. The film kind of does the same. Like it goes through so many hoops to revert the status quo of the originals. Like, it's like, let's just have stormtroopers again. Obviously, they do some interesting things which have kind of fucked with the morality of killing stormtroopers, but I can't be asked against that. They've kind of like gone, let's have stormtroopers again. Let's have the good guys somehow be the minority by just killing all the government, which kind of... I don't know what Abrams is going to do that with the 9th one. But
do we ever find out how Finn ended up being a stormtrooper?
I mean, it was just like
taken
captured
from
at birth.
Oh, was that the reason?
Yeah, they're basically slaves.
Yeah.
So when you kill stormtroopers, you're just killing slaves.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. There's always been that level of willful suspension of disbelief of morality whenever you shoot someone in like a video game, in like a film. You know?
Just watch the Lindsay Ellis ideology of the First Order video. It's really good.
Anyway.
It's like, I don't know. I mean, I have very little to say about this film. I feel like I kind of just want to wrap up doing the Star Wars thing now.
I mean,
it's good. It's got a lot of problems, but it's good. I don't know if it's better than Rogue One. I'm going to need to see where other people put it.
I think this one is really good in that it feels like it understands what a human being is, like in the way that the prequels didn't. And I feel like the prequels are like a really low bar of comparison. But just like there's something that I heard like a discussion around. It's just the simple scene and like the back and forths between Finn and Poe Dameron is just so strong. Like that him busting him out of the Imperial Death Star destroyer, whatever it's called. And then just like them, like, you need a pilot, don't you? And then they're almost like almost Han and Luke level, like you know them shooting the turrets on the destroyer as they escape away. I think is really good. I think the character interaction in this is probably almost stronger than 8, just because in 8 they feel so split up.
Yeah, it's definitely like the characters are great, and I like that even though it is a remake of Star Wars, they did some intelligent things to kind of make it still a sequel. Like they had the Obi-Wan part be Han Solo. Like that's really clever. I think this is probably Harrison Ford's best performance in a Star Wars film as well. Like it feels like, unlike Jedi, he's not reining this one in, and like unlike kind of the original Empire, he's playing a very different role. But he's still got like elements of like what made him so good.
And he's not really that great in The Last Jedi either, is he?
Oh, he's brilliant in that one. Yeah. Ethan, do you like The Force Awakens from what you remember of it?
It's not too bad.
3 years ago?
It was a while back. Did we midnight release this one, or did we just do Last Jedi?
We midnight released Last Jedi. I didn't see it.
We didn't see this one together.
I can't remember what I saw it with. I have a strange relationship with this and Last Jedi in the sense that if you can take the same thing from both of them, I'll like it in one and dislike it in the other, and it can just be completely different. So I think Finn is really good in this one, and I think he's an interesting character who they could develop. And in The Last Jedi, I didn't get that impression.
Yeah, okay.
He was quite boring in that. Kylo Ren, I'll admit, I wasn't a big fan of him in The Force Awakens. I thought he to me, he was... I know that was kind of his character, but I found him annoying. He was kind of like a grown-up baby who went around smashing things. I didn't like that. But in The Last Jedi, they fleshed him out a little bit, and I definitely liked him a lot more as a character. I like Ginger Lad. What's his name? Hux. He's good in The Force Awakens. In The Last Jedi, they turn him into a bit of a slapstick kind of character, don't they? So there's it's strange, which means I'll probably give a similar score to both of them. Like you, Harry, I don't have much to say. I'm not a massive fan of the fact that I feel like they're kind of rehashing things of original films, and it makes me think, I kind of just wish I was watching A New Hope or Empire right now.
Yeah.
I know we've already talked about that, so I won't go into it too much. But one of the things I liked about the prequel films is that while they're pretty bad, of course, but I feel like at least George Lucas was trying to do something new, be bold, and kind of just sort of be different and try new things. And I thought it's not that he played it safe; it's that he played it way too safe for me, and there were too many parallels between previous films with me for this one for me to like it. And The Last Jedi, I feel like I liked it more because they did do different things with it. So
yeah, Last Jedi is, in my opinion, it's the most interesting Star Wars film since Empire. It's probably the best one. Like it's like Jedi is just a rehash of the original.
Yeah.
For most of it, whereas this plays it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the fact that they can't seem to give up Death Stars. It's different than Death Star because it's much bigger, but no, it's still kind of Death Star.
I mean, even though I agree that is a problem, I do like that and this doesn't justify it, but they do sort of poke fun at themselves when Han says, "So what if it's bigger? There's always going to be a place where you just shoot it and it will blow up."
I guess that's true, but that's always the thing of like
you can't point out a mistake.
Exactly. It was. I think it was Ant-Man and the Wasp where they said, "Oh, do you just add quantum before everything?" And you're like, "Well, thanks for highlighting out the mistake with this script." Yeah, it's just well, anyway. And it's. I mean, you've got a character who's on a desert planet who doesn't have a fantastic job, and she's kind of dreamed of exploring the universe and leaving that trashy planet. It just it was too safe for me. So I mean, I can give you a score right now if you want it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to give just quickly on Rey. She's way more interesting than Luke.
Yeah.
Luke's A4 paper.
Yeah,
Rey's A4 card.
I will almost agree with
fair
that,
enough.
but
That's
also
very
in
true.
the sense that I think it almost helped earlier on, like with Star Wars, that Luke was just such like this wide-eyed sort of farm boy newcomer to the scene. Whereas Rey is almost a bit too interesting to be like the main central character, because it just feels quite busy with like every one of the original trilogy. Sorry, the original like three main casts of Han, Luke, and Leia. Luke was almost like this sort of like, even though he eventually like gets more powerful as a Jedi, he is almost a more like plain sort of contrast to like Luke up there. Han, who is this like smuggler, and Leia, who is this princess. With the new trio of like everyone just almost feels a bit too cool for like there to be like a contrast. Poe Dameron is like the coolest fighter pilot in the entire galaxy. Finn is like this really interesting idea of what if a stormtrooper went good. And then Rey, she also has this like, I'm trying to find my parents. Very driven from the offset. And it's almost a bit like, they're very good characters, and I like how they're acted. They always have a good chemistry. No matter who's together, except in 8, like what is it? Rey and Poe meet for like the first time, and they say like hello. And it almost like, I think it was almost a strength and like almost like a kind of a justification. Like I don't agree with it entirely, but like when people say like, oh Rey, she's married to Sue or whatever, like that, I don't agree with that argument entirely. But I think it does come from a place of Luke. It helped that Luke was a bit more of a newcomer to the scene, was a bit more of a contrast.
I think they gave her like one too many things to do, because obviously discovering the Force powers comes after the like she's like the best pilot. It almost would have made sense if you give Finn one of those attributes. So either Finn becomes the Force sensitive one.
I mean, it is a trend that people who are Force sensitive are also good pilots. It makes sense that she's like shown to be good at it when she's kind of the gunner in the Millennium Falcon. I like that bit.
Finn is essentially a good performance and a good concept, which kind of after this film, he feels a lot less interesting than the next one. Perhaps because what can you do with him apart from have the same, he wants to run away because he knows what the First Order are like. I don't know. I feel like the jumping off point of this film worked, but it made a sequel very hard, and the sequel we got was really good, and I want to review it.
I mean, it did leave a lot of like interesting threads, which I always say, like it almost left it open for if people wanted to be like, all right, the second one is you go find Rey's parents or whatever, or the same with Finn, or find out how the lightsaber got to Maz Kanata, even though that's probably going to be a spin-off film or something. I'm not even joking. Story for another time. Star Wars story.
I really hope after episode 9 they just stop. Anyway.
Stop with Star Wars.
You know what they should do? They should just
I'm bored
oscillate.
of it. Marvel works because there are like thousands of comic books, different characters, different genres they can bring in.
Yeah.
They can make it interesting. They can add more flavor. Star Wars is a continuing story. That like it's you can't really spin off Star Wars.
But I mean, MCU does have. I mean, at the moment it has this thing where. Well, everything's been leading up to the Infinity Stone, so there is a running story throughout.
Yeah, but there are films that have nothing to do with that. There are like there is Ant-Man, which is just like a comedy with Michael
why
Pena.
We cancelled the MCU podcast.
Yeah, there's more flavour in the Marvel films that Hollywood can just make 3 a year, and like 2 of them will be good a year, and 1 of them will probably be great if they hire a good director. Yeah. Whereas Star Wars, like even doing 1 a year is too much. It's just there's just not enough there.
I think after 9.
I think there was enough there, and then they made it all Legends.
Yeah, but even the Legends is a bit shit. Like most of that stuff is complete horseshit.
I feel like the world could be big enough, but it is sort of the main series films do have to be this sort of. I say do have to. They have tended to be this sort of back and forth between, like Maz Kanata sums it up when she's like, oh, it used to be the Senate and now it's, you know, the First Order or whatever. Like it'll always
It's
be
like
almost
poetry.
that incarnation of that back and forth, you know.
Ring theory.
We're the light and we're always going to be the underdogs against the dark, and then we'll win for like 20 years and then we'll lose, and then, you know. So I think they should just pace it well. They should just be like, alright, you know what would be good if after 9 we just take a break for like 15 years.
Yes, but
Just
then
bring
they
it
won't
back.
because of money, but they
Well,
should.
well, they should just oscillate their franchises. They should just be like, all right, after Marvel sort of ends after say Phase 5, we'll reboot. We'll have it so that when we'll reboot one and then that'll end and then we'll reboot the other and just do that. Just continue into infinity because people will have had a long enough time to forget the other one. They won't get fatigued.
Yeah, but do you not think it's possible for people to just leave something alone?
Yeah, I mean that's the ideal, but then you need like a post-scarcity society. Hey, like a bit of a stubborn.
I think it kind of like a lot of like the big films is completely determined by who Disney's CEO is, and at the moment Disney's CEO likes making Marvel and Star Wars films instead of making new Disney films, just doing the live action versions. So every year we're just gonna have like 5 live action Disney remakes, a Star Wars film, 3 Marvel films, and maybe a Pixar if we're lucky.
That's depressing.
Yeah, you say that though, but like you also like don't need to see them, and there are like, especially in 2018, there's been like I've seen close to 60 films, and I'd recommend about 40 of them, and about 30 of them have been completely original ideas, not sequels, not remakes, just great filmmakers making original films, and they've been fantastic, and it's going to be the same every year. So there's always going to be these big franchises. I'd rather they were Marvel ones than Star Wars ones because there's a bit more variation there, but you know.
Yeah. Actually, you know what's quite funny? I love some of the Star Wars films, but MCU's probably better than the Star Wars franchise, isn't it?
Yeah, as a franchise, yeah, because Star Wars
Right
is
now,
like
yeah.
3 films,
Yeah.
and then shit's spinning off it, and some of the shit is better than other bits of the shit. I feel like some of the Disney stuff's been okay, but
Well, I think it's because Marvel has only gotten stronger over time.
yeah, because that's gradually
whereas
gotten
Star
better.
Wars has gone in ups and downs. Like it's less predictable.
I still think of the 20 MCU films, you can watch about 8 of them. You can skip 12. But there are 12 like ones that are just good, and you can just watch the great ones
Yeah.
and get a good idea of it.
Shit, I was getting distracted, don't worry about it. Anyway, so I'll give you a score.
Yep.
So... Oh.
Should we call this podcast Mediate SW Marathon / MCU Marathon? We'll just go through and rank every Marvel film.
So what, 3 Marvel films for every Star Wars film?
No, we'll just do all the Marvel films now. We'll sit down and we'll go, I'll list them, and we'll just say good or bad.
I mean, you know what?
We have a combined ranking.
If you named all of the
Combined
MCU films
ranking,
right
that'd
now,
be very
I
fun.
could tell you the score that I'd give them. I could literally do that right
We'll do
now.
that at the end as a post-credit scene. Setting up for the podcast, which isn't the MCU one.
Yeah.
Alright.
I don't know. It's very average for me.
Can I go? Do you want me to go?
You want to say that
I can
one?
just tell you. I think
Go.
it's a 5, Jonathan.
5?
Ooh. And so where does that put it in your overall like ranking?
Is it better or worse than Solo? What did you give Solo?
It's worse than Solo. It's just, yeah. I mean,
You gave
I
Solo
don't
a 6 there. Oh, so yeah, it was worse.
Yeah.
know. It's worse than Solo.
Is it better than episode 3?
100%? Yeah. What did I give
Okay.
episode 3?
Or 4?
Alright, give it a 6 then.
Well, so you're going to give Force Awakens a 6. But
Oh.
it's still worse than Solo.
Come back to me.
Right. Harry?
I'm going to give it a 7,
Yeah.
and I think it is worse than Rogue One. But the only reason I think it's worse than Rogue One is because Rogue One has the "Did you know that wasn't me?" joke. That's the only reason.
What is she proposing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna join you on a 7 because I think episode 7 is a 7. I feel it's a Looper, you know. It's a 7 out of 7.
It's not even directed by Ryan Johnson.
See, I mean, Looper's a pretty good film. And for me, they had like a very original concept that I think they followed through with really well. And this just doesn't have any of that, really. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a high 5.
Do you know?
And Last Jedi's definitely better, so I'll give it a higher score.
Do you know what I want, Ethan? I want the director of Looper to make a Star Wars film.
What's he called, that guy?
Ryan Johnson.
Oh, yes. Oh, he's already done. I just realised.
Machination to be this brilliant.
The gears turning.
Alright.
So we're in the fact that because I also gave A New Hope a 7, and I think I put The Force Awakens above A New Hope.
Johnny, I'm going to kill you. What are you talking about? No!
I mean, I could actually understand that.
I thought Tony was going to do this, and I was going to have a go at him for it.
No, I could understand that of just being like, yeah, I don't care which story was first. I watched both now, and the one that was better, I'll give the better score.
More, yeah, it was a better done version of it, I'd say. Which
Sorry, I've completely missed what we're talking about.
He thinks it's better than the original Star Wars.
What the Force Awakens?
I mean,
wow.
Gee, what sells you on this as like the main difference? Is it just the problem you had watching episode 4 with it was just like it's so old that you've become accustomed to it?
Well, I wouldn't say it's so old. I don't know. I think it's just
so permeated,
filmed and like shot better, and it
has, exactly.
I guess it is your kind of thing, but it is made for a more modern audience. So
That statement's kind of enraged me a little, so I'm 5.
You haven't gone back down to a 5.
I mean, I hadn't ended up changing it, so.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Well, I'll stay there.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. That as much as I think the what the originals had of that sort of Wild West sort of space western sort of atmosphere / space fantasy, throwing both of them into the pot,
The Voldemort.
throwing them
from Gringo,
both in
Sorry.
Of just like they were something special and just like sort of out of nowhere this really original idea that had sort of such a grounded atmosphere to it. I think that it would almost be in a weird contrast of, even though the structure is so similar. I think the fact that it has gone for like, okay, Star Wars is now this modern film franchise. It is like the height of what we can do with practical and special effects today. I think it is really good. I think 8 more so like is shot better, but this is still really good. And like I was thinking, like, all right, it was just good, right? It would just be an episode 7 out of 10. But watching it, it just felt so enjoyable in the moment, and so it's why I don't know. Just like if you just like sit down and like watch it at face value, I think it was like surprisingly good to me. Because I was just like, oh man, I really like the chemistry of the new cast. I think it's played really well. I like how it's is setting up this new trilogy. I think I liked it more than Rogue One, which was surprising to me because I thought Rogue One was really like surprisingly good, and this was like, oh man, do I really like it more than Rogue One? But I think I do. I think I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Just on the its sort of technical presentation, I just really enjoy, and I think I don't mind as much that it's sort of rehashing. Like as much as I would love, the new like the masterpiece to come out, like the Blade Runner 2049 style of just taking the original and just doing everything it did better, just completely shitting on the episode like for being like fuck you. We've got a better budget and a better everything. We're just going to take those ideas and expand on them in new ways and also add modern production values. But 1 out of 2 ain't bad. I think modern production values, like in a way that the prequels didn't, add a lot to the Star Wars experience of being this this sort of adventure. And I like the first film. I think it does feel quite well contained in this sort of story that it tells of introducing this cast and blowing up that Starkiller base. It's quite lame that it does rehash so much, but I wasn't like watching it. I wasn't bored that it felt like a rehash. I was impressed enough by the things that were happening on screen, by the energy that the film had of like starting on that desert planet and then meeting Han Solo in the Millennium Falcon and then going to Starkiller Base at the end. I think it is paced very well and is very enjoyable, and I think the big key thing is I compared it to a Battlefront in my mind, which is like, okay, sure, that was good, but I think in even though Battlefront it's obviously a video game, it almost took less risks, and this was like, I don't know, maybe it's an unfair comparison to make because Battlefront is just almost an adaptation, whereas this is like a sequel. And yeah, anyway.
Okay, having said that, I've just remembered that I gave John Wick a 5, so this is a 6.
Yeah, I was comparing it to John Wick as well. Like it was just a really enjoyable like watch, you know.
Yeah, but okay. Sure.
I think it's
They'll
above
make him
average.
drop down the score. Continue with that.
In terms of just very, I don't want to get into a big topic about this, but The Force Awakens and Blade Runner 2049 show that back when you made films back in the day, you actually had to end the film. You couldn't just leave it.
Yeah, but to be fair, this is a trilogy. Like I did go in knowing like, okay, this is gonna set up 2 other films. So you know
Also,
you're gonna get cucked a bit at the end.
Remember those years where it just ended and like Luke said nothing? Those are great. It's the time where we hadn't heard Mark Hamill speak.
I remember that little meme, which was a picture of him and then just dot in quotation marks, Luke Skywalker.
Great. Okay, so The Last Jedi we have reviewed. If you want to hear our thoughts, listen to the last 20 minutes of the film, open bracket, close bracket, S of 2017. But I think instead of reviewing the film again, we should talk about how our opinions have changed. Like, we all liked The Last Jedi. Is there anyone who likes it less upon reflection?
No, about the same. I don't think I was as impressed as you three, but I definitely liked it more than The Force Awakens. It was what did I like about it?
Is it better than Looper?
No, it's not better than Looper.
Cool.
And I think that yeah, but I like things that are kind of standalone and they're in their own little universe. So I quite like Looper for that reason. And again, Looper has just a concept that I think is really intelligent and clever. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just. It's not like an overall thing. I think it's just scenes that I'm not a fan of in this film. I don't think the Casino Planet is very Star Warsy for me at all. So
I mean, it feels
It feels prequely.
And I don't like it.
That's the one bit we can all agree on. It isn't very good, but it's also necessary because otherwise the whole thing would just be set on 2 ships. You kind of need that bit of spice.
Yeah, but I quite like that. Like I thought that was for a film where quite a big chunk of it is set between just a ship chasing another ship. I think they did a really good job keeping the momentum going, and having twists and turns and new developments with Oscar Isaac, and I'll tell you do, and the person, Space Lord, I can't remember her character's name.
Holdo.
I was about to say Waldo.
That's right.
On Wally.
I like the training stuff as well. I don't think it's as good as the Dagobah training, but it's still well done. I definitely liked Kylo Ren in this one a lot more. The moments between him and Rey were fantastic and some of the best moments of the film. There's also the one part where I think it's the only example in a film that I've ever seen where it's made a direct reference to a previous film, and I've been like, that's awesome. And it's the part where R2-D2 replays the clip of Leia, which is like, oh, the nostalgia. So yeah, I can give you my score right now, straight away, if you wanted to. Oh no, I love Tommy Wiseau's performance in this.
Oh, hi, Mark.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's pretty good.
This is gonna be the Marvel thing. Like you think an 8 is a 7.
Yeah,
I think
it's a 6.
It's not a 6. You know, it's not a 6.
Yeah, no, it probably is a 7.
I did think that a lot of this film, the appeal was how something sort of came out of nowhere, and like people that was almost something complained about. It's like, it takes too many left turns with things like Finn getting not being interrupted in his suicide run and whatnot. And I was like, okay, well I know those things that are gonna happen. Is it gonna hold up as well? And to me, I think, I don't know, I think it did lose a bit in being so centered on like those shock moments. But I also think that it has a lot of, like, I think that the main strength of this film is just that last sort of act on Crate is just probably my favourite sort of extended part of any Star Wars film.
Helped by the brilliant song, The Battle of Crate, which is like 10 minutes long and just has pretty much every good theme that John Williams composed for 7. And adding pretty much all the great themes from the original trilogy somewhere in that kind of sequence.
Yeah, I think if I were to be like, alright, what are the top 5, shots in the Star Wars universe? There would be Binary Suns, and then 4 of them from Episode 8. like the last scene of episode, you know, with you know, Luke standing up against all the soldiers, just so many of the things like it's just such an inventive planet idea, just to have that really strong contrast between white and red. I think it probably is the best Star Wars planet, because, you know, I think Harry said, like, a lot of them are just like Earth biomes, just a city. You know?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Planet is a
that's the
city.
thing. A lot of them are quite gimmicky, aren't they? And this has something different, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is very, very interesting.
I wouldn't say the shot of Luke coming out. I mean, it's good, but it's the music for me in that moment. It's like I've watched that scene so many times. I don't know why I've seen the end of this film like so many times, just because I enjoy it so much. I'm like, once a month I'll be like, I just want to watch the last half an hour of the Last Jedi.
Yeah.
It's I don't understand how people complain about like some people like the film but don't like the ending. I just feel that the ending is so satisfying in terms of like acting as kind of like all the lessons learned throughout the film kind of culminate in this great kind of. I mean, there's a bit where Finn kind of just teleports with Rose. Like, I don't really know how that happens.
They use the Jedi super speed, Harry.
You use the med pack badly, Tony. But,
so going back to Ethan, when you said that you don't like Hux as much in this, but in the end he has a very great scene where it's when he goes for the gun.
I like Hux.
Which moment?
When he's picking up.
Is there another
Ren.
slapstick comedy moment?
No, it's when Kylo's passed out and Hux is looking over his body and he just like pulls his gun out and then he wakes up, so he puts it away.
Wow.
That's just
I
such.
didn't
It's such.
notice that
Yeah.
the first time I watched it as well.
Because which I think kind of really works, just because you realise he isn't just a slapstick character at that moment. He's like a serious. He's a plotting. You know, he's a plotting general, and he sees this moment and he's going to take it, but then gets stopped.
Actually, really quickly,
He's a musical
I want to talk about something that I've never found that funny, but for some reason you all find it hilarious. It's that snug ship. I've never found it as funny as well.
It's not funny.
It's
It's
not
became
funny. It's just one of those things that just got repeated.
Oh,
but I actually do
wait.
like the line
Yeah.
that said.
Can we just say as well, as well as that podcast where we actually review the film, you can listen to the round of books that were written. It contains so many references to this film and Star Wars in general. It essentially acts as its own review.
Also, there are a couple of moments I want to talk about. So firstly, I'm all for when films try new things and show you new aspects of concepts that you haven't seen before, but I wasn't a fan of the whole Leia doing the...
Yeah,
I didn't like that very much.
I think it's a good idea, poorly executed.
I didn't like
I'll
it.
forgive it.
I just felt that if she had died at that moment, it would have been very, very flat, and like the twist that is she has Jedi powers. Like, even though I don't know, I don't think it looks as good as it could have, just because it just seems a bit
wrong.
It seems a bit like out of I don't know, like a bit jarring for her to be in like a general outfit, you know, like almost like a dress, and to just do this Superman pose and fly towards the snoke ship at hyperlight speed. Last Jedi, 20-minute long cut of Last Jedi that just like compresses that moment to that other moment.
That is the greatest.
I really want to see a Star Wars film with an immigrant song playing.
Oh, man.
I love in that video just Poe's reaction because he's like. Can we pause the podcast to watch this?
Yeah. I think it's
Alright,
I've not
we'll
seen
be
that.
back.
It's an immigrant song because it was like a joke between us, not because it was an actual video where immigrant song was in it.
Alright.
That's amazing.
Alright, so we've resumed.
Yeah.
Oh, have we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to catch some of the reaction.
In response to what you said,
Slowly.
Tony, the thing I don't like about it, right, is that at that point in the film I was starting to fall asleep. Very slightly. I was just dozing off because it wasn't interesting for me. And then all of a sudden Leia could be dead and I'm like, wow, God, this is a new turn that I didn't expect. I didn't anticipate it, which I thought was quite
It
good.
would have been
It was the
anticlimactic.
fact. Sorry?
Yeah.
I think it would have been anticlimactic for it to go in that way.
No, but I don't know, but it shouldn't need to be. The trilogy should be able to move forward on the strengths that it already has. What I would have liked to have seen was I've not seen the third film, of course, but a trilogy of films where they kind of lose all contact with the original films, and they killed off Han Solo, which I liked. I thought that was a really strong moment in Force Awakens. Yeah,
but that's the villain's
Mark Hamill
thesis.
Yeah, but
I mean, it is a good thesis, though.
wrong?
No, because the whole point is he's wrong in his approach. You don't let the past die. You learn from the mistakes of the past, and you evolve, and you grow to be better.
But I
It's
also
also
do
important-
think
It's important
See,
to keep remnants of the
that
past.
there is
to remember the mistakes that you made. Yoda fucking shows up halfway through the film and tells you this.
I do think there is.
From
wait, sorry,
his
John,
point
go
of view,
ahead.
it's like because Rey continually like having this.
Yeah,
this
she's
thing for her
almost like
parents.
she's like
That's
the
a negative
fanboy.
thing.
She's like stuck to this idealized image of the past,
She needs
which
to,
needs to die.
move on from it, which is what I'm taking from the let the past
Yeah.
die. Is you need to move on from this moment.
Yeah,
I think Kylo's thing is literally just like is make the same mistakes again, and that's what he does when he goes to fight Luke. He does the same thing that he did with Han Solo. He essentially like the rebellion. You know, they're crushed like a bug in the ground, which is a lyric from Let Down. That's my link. And instead of going in and just killing them, he allows himself to, instead of learning from the mistake he made with Han Solo, to make the same mistake again.
You're not going to be able to keep that up, by the way.
Yeah, I
There's
am.
no way you'll be able to remember to reference
It
Let
is.
Down in every podcast from here until
Ethan,
I computer.
If I reference it in every podcast, then when I make the joke, it's going to be my joke because I've done the groundwork. Okay, I'm playing the long game.
What the-
Yeah.
The second moment I wanted to talk about, can't remember it. It's gone. Oh, I don't like porgs at all.
I mean, they're not really in the film. They're,
kinda-
they're
Yeah,
more of a
it annoys me.
merchandise.
That feels Daniel Kaluuya riding a rhino to me. That's what it does. It just feels too silly, and I don't like it. It's too cute. I think that's
They-
what it
they
is. It's
are
too cute.
compared to the Ewoks in Episode 6, I feel like they're better. It's just like a cool throwaway alien thing, you know. It's like
Ewoks
cute and
like-
sells
I
toys
don't
and
like
whatever.
porgs. What's the moment? I had a moment that I liked.
Snoke.
I'm gonna
Snoke moment.
I'm gonna
Yes,
go back.
yes.
To
I wanted to talk about the whole that I didn't see coming, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
The whole killing off Snoke. I did not expect Kylo Ren to do that. So
that was
that
great.
definitely made me jump and made me
It's
get
such a
drawn
cool
into
moment
it.
as
Yeah,
well.
and then that later fight scene is great, even with the dagger that gets magically removed.
Yeah.
But no, that's a
Jump
great
in the
scene,
park.
some great lighting. I'm gonna go back to
Sure.
why I think Leia surviving is
Okay, really quickly before you mention
Alright.
that, because I imagine you'll talk about it for a bit. I just want to talk about. Do you remember the part in that fight where someone says something, and then all the guards kind of do some really cool move, and then put their swords back into their sheath.
Alright.
It's like,
Can I quickly say one more thing? Because I think me and Tony disagree on this. Tony likes the bit where Kylo kills Snoke. Snoke's dialogue in the build-up. I don't like it. He's like, then. He gives like a really ambiguous answer. He's like, yes, you hate this person. You want
so
to kill
good.
this. You
It's
turn
so
your
good.
sword to kill your true foe.
It's
You
because
cannot betray
Up
me.
until like the last millisecond, it's almost as if he knows that he's gonna try and do it, but he doesn't, which is
He
great.
gives such an ambiguous speech.
I know, which makes it so cool.
It's like in when a film or like a TV show has a plot twist that like a character isn't who that you think they are, but all the scenes with them just happen to be ambiguous enough. It's kind of a bit too like.
I know, but
why
it
you-
feels like an
the
over the
man or
top
woman
villainous
who's been
speech.
doing all
It
this.
fits for Snoke.
Yeah, it
It's
fits
like
for
it
Snoke.
feels like him being like overconfident, which it
I just think
plays
Gani
into the.
Circus's delivery was very good
I
in
think,
that scene.
I think it's really good.
Snoke's a bit shit. I'm glad he's dead.
Yeah, I do understand. No, I don't understand.
I like the-
Actually,
I
I
like-
like that Snoke comes out of nowhere and then is killed because
Yeah,
it
I
is
like that
cool.
he's killed because he's a bit shit.
Right.
that's cool, Jonathan.
Reason number 2 why Leia's... Well, no, actually, is the reason... Anyway, my feeling why having her not die was anticlimactic is because it takes away from the moment where Kylo Ren...
It's true.
Hesitates.
What is happening in that
Hesitates.
scene? I can't even remember.
Right.
He like doesn't shoot her.
There's a bombing run going on the bridge, and you're there with Kylo, and you see him
course,
move
that's
his thumbs away from the firing, and then 2 guys swoop in and blow it up. And that's such a strong emotional moment, which is kind of taken a bit back by just how it's
That is
magicking through.
100% true. I remember thinking that at the time as well, and I remember thinking that could have been a fantastic moment to develop Kylo Ren's character, thinking, "Oh my god, my mother's just died. I could have a chance to kind of become a better person from this." And that he starts to question
I
his
think-
faith
I mean,
towards as the film goes on, and his loyalty
But-
to such spunk guy. What's he called?
Snoke.
Snoke. That's
Woke.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it just and Leia just doesn't do enough in this one. I mean, it's a bit hard because they must have had plans for her.
That's
for
what I was going to say. Because
episode
I
9.
think the idea, I mean, they've changed lots. They've sacked the director who lives next to Ben Stepney for 9. But I think the idea was always sorry, Ben. Although you did once share a Jordan Peterson thing on Facebook, which I unfriended you for. So
in the true irony, I responded with the ContraPoints video, which calls out people for just like not engaging with the argument.
Hang on, what was the Jordan Peterson?
Literally off topic.
No, but I'm kind of interested now.
You know who?
A tangent.
You know what's like the alt-right? Star Wars.
Anyway, so Jordan Peterson is basically so
Kylo Ren goes on an all-meat diet, which is how he gets so swole in that scene.
They've changed
Free Monday.
They've changed what they were going to do quite a lot, obviously. I think the plan seemed to be that Kylo faced Han and killed him. Kylo faces Luke, kills him. Kylo faces Leia, and then changes, becomes good. I think that was the idea, and also Leia has that scene with Luke, which you need, and also Leia has the passing of the torch to Poe Dameron, which is his whole arc in the film, which is really good, and I like it. And killing her off kind of would have sucked a bit, because then what happens? Holdo is the leader, then Holdo kills herself, and then Poe is the leader. You need the Leia kind of indoor, because the last thing she would have done was demote Poe. I think you needed more with Leia, and obviously they obviously had plans with her for 9.
I do think
who knows what's going to happen now?
This is a bit sad to say, but if Episode 9 had gone according to plan, there probably would have been more between Kylo and Leia. There would have been like a setup, a payoff to that, like Kylo can't kill Leia. That would have came back in some more way.
Also, if your friends share Jordan Peterson clips on Facebook, unfriend them. Don't debate with them.
Fair enough.
Before we come to giving our ratings, do you guys want to talk about what you think your predictions are for the last film?
I have no fucking idea what the fuck it's going to be. It's a J.J. Abrams film, so it's probably just going to be Return of the Jedi. Just have a break after it. From
the visionary mind of J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams, the shit Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, well, at least it's not Zack Snyder.
I mean,
could you imagine a Zack Snyder directed Star Wars?
Okay, speaking of Zack Snyder, I'd like to announce that after following the Star Wars series, we're launching our new DC Universe series.
No.
Starting with Man of Steel.
I haven't seen the one good film Wonder Woman in that universe.
But breaking news, guys, we have the Snyder Cut. So we're going
to be the Snyder Cut of Episode 8.
Instead of doing our new podcast idea, could we do graphic novel adaptations podcast and only pick films that have been adapted from original graphic novels?
We should just
do Zack Snyder films.
Yeah, pretty much.
And Viva Vendetta.
Yeah, but can't. It's not Alan Moore's vision. Right.
Are we going to slight numbers on this? Because we've been going for quite a while.
Ethan's already said 7. Ethan, where does it? You said 7.
Have I already said 7? No.
You can say what you want, Ethan.
You can change your mind.
It probably is a 7, but at the same time, I'm just. It's not a 6 or a 7 yet. I'm just thinking. The reason why I'm torn is because when I think of this in relation to The Force Awakens, I'm reminded about things that The Force Awakens did much better than The Last Jedi, and therefore I don't think it's that much better.
In my opinion, though, I think the strength of the things it does do better, outweigh the failings it has. In my opinion. Yeah, because I don't know what your opinion is, but for me, I feel like the character interaction between the main 3 casts is almost non-existent. They introduced Rose, which we haven't talked about, and I do like her towards the end, but I just feel like you had a really strong cast of 3 people in 7, and I'm not sure, and you sort of lose that. And although it's never as good as Episode 5, Luke and Leia and Han, back and forth.
Lando.
I'm gonna give it a high 6 because I'm disappointed in what happens to Finn, and that so much happens on the casino planet, and they wasted Benicio del Toro, who's a fantastic actor. He just wasn't good.
No, I like him in this.
I feel like he
seen
wasn't
Snatch,
really
then?
necessary.
Have you seen Sin City? Have you seen The Usual Suspects? Those are brilliant performances compared to this. For me.
So I've seen 2
He's in
of
Snatch
them.
for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, but he's great. Isn't
He's in Snatch as much. He's in this as much as he's in Snatch.
Yeah, isn't he much better in Snatch?
Yeah. That's why he shouldn't have been in this film.
Who's he in Snatch?
He is.
He's the guy who starts it all, doesn't he? He's basically the
Right
beginning
before
of it
this.
all. He's where he steals the diamond in Antwerp and then gets killed because
he goes in the back of the van and gets.
Yeah.
We've talked about so
He
many
just-
things that isn't episode 8.
Damn.
Episode 8 we're talking about fucking
Yeah,
Jordan
because
Peterson.
we've reviewed episode 8. We need to review Jordan Peterson, you know.
Also, can we give our MCU scores at the end of this?
Yeah,
as well?
that's going to be the post-credit scene.
Alright.
We've done this review, which is
I've totally forgotten what I said then, though.
You basically said exactly what you said now, Tony.
I haven't
you
changed
liked
at all.
it then. You just didn't give a number to it then. What are you going to give a number now?
Tony, you've not had an arc.
I know.
Also, Ethan, where does
I've been
it-
boring, which is why characters that I relate to are also boring.
Where does it go on your list?
I think it's just below Looper.
Is it
It's,
better than Solo?
Yes.
Okay. It's worse than Rogue One.
It's worse than Rogue One.
Okay, so in between Solo and Rogue One. Also, at the end of this, we're going to officially announce our rankings, and then we're going to fucking.
We also have to predict where
This is the
episode 9
finale,
will be.
isn't it?
Actually, it's not the finale because episode 9.
Oh, don't be a
But we might come back for one more special. But
You know they're going to do that business on Canto Moid, the spin-off,
Oh.
like that year.
wait, can I do mine? Because I'm going to give it an 8, and I'm going to say it is the 3rd best Star Wars film. That's right. Original trilogy is not my top 3.
Is the original trilogy even my top 3?
Yep. Yeah, it is. It is.
So,
You've gone
okay.
5, 4, 6, Rogue One.
Oh, right. Okay.
You've done 7 twice as well. On Ethan's.
Alright, because I typed it as 7, right? I can think. It's because I got used to the idea of typing in 7.
What's the time, guys?
4:30.
It's during a podcast.
4:30.
Well, now we've dated this podcast.
I'm going to be the...
To 4:30.
I'm going to be the same as Harry and give it an 8. Which, so we have like a run of... in fact, I've got a run of, I think episode 6 is a 6. I think episode 7 is a 7. I think episode 8 is an 8. So I'm
Yeah.
Really? 'Cause
I'm-
Johnny, I
I'm-
remember you being a bit...
I'm excited.
It took. I think it took you a while, didn't it, to kind of collect your
Well,
thoughts on it.
Your brother
well,
wasn't
it
a
did,
fan.
yeah.
it was a
yeah.
bit
I
like
was-
based
like
on a
it?
24.
I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not
so my-
criticising it. I'm just glad that Johnny's come out positive.
Well, I was always sort of around like 8-7. It's just, I think it's part of, because I am around an 8, is the bits that don't work are kind of annoying because I want them to work, because I want this to be a film I rate very highly.
Yeah, I kind of want it to be that, but it's not.
Yeah. And again, because of my brother and really hating it, and you
everyone
guys mostly...
Everyone really hates it.
Well, but the two main groups I spend time with being my brother, who really hates it, and like you guys, who are usually more positive about it. So it's I always feel like I am on the edge of it. Anyway, so I give it an 8 in terms of like ranking it with the rest.
Also,
puts
wait,
it as the
I want to just keep saying
second
things.
best.
Tony, that kid with the broom is not going to be a integral part of the plot.
I mean-
stop misinterpreting that scene.
I mean,
that's not what he
He
was
literally could come back though.
Yeah, but
They
that's
have
not
had
the
a
point.
kid be a main character
Yeah,
in Star Wars.
they were in the bad ones.
Yeah, I know. And who knows what they'll do with
That's not
episode
the
9
point.
though. Who knows? They'll bring Lucas back and he'll be like, oh, we're going to have Pod Race 2 for episode 9. Featuring that kid. Alright.
If they brought Lucas back, I would get massively interested. I want them to make 1,000 of these films, like one a year.
Alright, I think...
Okay.
So you've
So
not-
Johnny, where is it in your ranking?
It's the second best.
Nice, Tony.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I've got a bit of an N+1 rule going on here. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. And I do see a lot of the flaws with it. Like, episode 8 does a lot of things better in terms of, like, character
Which
interactions.
isn't 30 Club. Yes.
And this is, you know, really, but this is just really strong in, like, some areas that I think, yeah, this is the best Star Wars has ever been. in like terms of like, I think episode 7 this as well, but like in terms of like fight choreography, like, you know, Luke and Kylo Ren going at it, and just the idea of him using the hologram, you know, to practically like non-violently, you know, uphold all the Jedi sort of things they've stood for the entire time, of like non-violence, you know, not giving into your emotions, just being there and just still managing to hold the entire, you know, First Order to buy time. I think it's really good. I think, you know, one of the core themes, like ideas, you know, the fact that it is interesting and that it plays with the idea that like actually Holdo is almost trying to take a more realistic approach to like, hey, we can't, you know, the rebellion can't keep winning, even though they've always done this, of, you know, betting on tiny slim odds. We have to do things that are a bit more reasonable. And like, I think I've come to appreciate that a bit more. Like, I do have a few, like, the thing with Holdo, right, is the big complaint is people are like, why didn't she just tell people? And I think watching the film as it plays out, I think it makes a lot more sense. I think it feels a lot more realistic, and I really like the, you know, the turnarounds, the back and forth. Like, the mutiny is great, and also Holdo kicking the smoke pipe and like disrupting the mutiny is really great. And then it just turns around at the end, you know, no hard feelings when she's like, you know, that kid's a troublemaker. I think I like him. You're like, yeah, this is like, it's got a really good like I think new take. And I think it does take, you know, it does do a lot of new things with the idea of what it can be, and I do think it does put its foot wrong in some of those places, to be honest. You know, like things with like Canto Bight, things with I don't know, other than maybe it's just Canto Bight, but but some of the things are just so strong, like with the Snoke scene, and then with
that Snoke scene,
exactly. It has scenes and they're good. And then with, you know, with I think the Luke training, yeah, again with it not being as good as Dagobah, you know, but I think it's still really good. The idea of Luke being like almost falling back into his old like way of like he doesn't believe in himself as much, you know, he's made a mistake, but then, you know, he learns again, you know, to put his faith in the future with Rey. You know, I love like some of the one-liners in this, you know, the quips, you know, they're great. I think it's really funny at the beginning with, you know, General Hugs, hello, you know. And the line that keeps coming back, you know, every word you just said was wrong. And, you know, I've talked about the end again. Incredibly well shot, incredibly one of the best, you know, space sort of star fights at the end. I think 9 is a fair ranking. It's the best one. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's the lowest 9, so it's third best, but it's still really strong.
Okay. I can officially. We've all got our own personal rankings. I can officially give you the Mediate ranking, the official Mediate ranking.
This is just yours.
No. Wait, is it?
No, I'm not looking. I was just joking.
I'm giving the average score of each one.
No, I mean I understood what you.
Yeah.
It is quite similar to mine. Okay, so the lowest is the Phantom Menace, which has 11. That's number 10. Number 9 is Attack of the Clones, which has 12. Number 8 is Revenge of the Sith, which has 17. Number 7 is Solo with 24. Okay, now I've skipped 6th. Joint 5th is 6 and 7. I'm not sure which ones because they've got exactly the same score. Me and Ethan have put 6 higher than 7, and Johnny and Tony have put 7 higher than 6. So those two are equal. I don't. Yeah. So I don't know which one to put for that. So I'm saying they're equal because obviously half of us would vote one way, half of us would vote the other way.
There's
Whose votes count
no
for more
easy way
votes?
to tell between.
Well, who's got more seats? Do you like the EPQ? You decide.
Yeah, but who's got director override power? That's
Okay. 4 is Rogue One with 29. And then we get to the 30 Club. Number 3 is Episode 8 with 31. Second is the original Star Wars with 34. And number 1 is the best film ever made, The Empire Strikes Back with 38. It's not bad, is it? It's not bad.
I think we didn't disagree that much.
MCU.
Right.
Alright.
Now we're going to do the whole of the MCU.
Stan Lee cameo.
Right. I am good. Okay.
He comes in, he was like Snoke's master, and he was like, I didn't see that coming.
Wait, are we all doing this now? Okay. We're over an hour.
Just literally like speed run through it. Just say the name and then everyone say the number.
Right. Alright, so we'll go in order of Ethan.
No, I don't want to go first.
Alright, Tony, Jono, me, Ethan.
Fuck.
Yes.
I have to think about
Okay,
this.
don't give a fucking big monologue, Tony. We just want a number.
Oh, wow.
Right, Iron Man.
8.
7.
8.
6.
The Incredible Hulk.
Null.
Not seen.
5.
I've not seen it either.
Okay, I'm the only one that's seen that. Iron Man 2. Tony.
6.
Not seen it.
5.
Probably a 4.
Okay, Thor.
6. Actually, no, Iron Man 2 was a 5.
Okay, Iron Man 2's a 5. Thor.
6.
Jono.
6.
And me, 6.
6.
That's Luther. Luther 2.
Luca
Alright.
N minus
Captain
1.
America: The First Avenger. Tony.
7.
7.
6.
6.
Marvel's The Avengers. Tony.
9.
A high 7.
I'm gonna give it a 9.
7.
Okay, that's phase 1 done. Now, just gonna get phase 2 up. I think we did. Iron Man 3. Tony.
6.
Not seen it.
8.
6.
Thor: The Dark World.
Null.
4.
3.
4.
Fuck, I've lost the list. No. Alright, I've got it back. Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Tony.
8.
Jonah.
Yeah, I'd go 8.
8.
It is a 7.
Oh,
It is a good one. That one.
Alright. Guardians of the Galaxy. Tony.
7.
7.
7.
7.
I'm glad we all agree. Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Ooh.
6.
5.
6.
5.
Ant-Man.
Null.
You've not seen it,
No.
basically.
6.
6.
5.
Okay, Captain America: Civil War. Tony.
9.
Not seen. Actually, no, I did see it, didn't I? Yeah. 7.
9.
6.
Doctor Strange.
What score did I give Inception? Did I give it Inception like an 8? Oh,
Give it a
fuck.
9, I think.
Oh no, Doctor
you
Strange
gave
gets
it
a
a
9. What if I give it Inception? I have to give it higher.
Inception.
If you've got to give it higher, it's got to be a 10 then. Tony, you've got to give it a 10.
Tony,
It's
stop
gonna
the
be a
meme.
fucking
But he's... Oh, okay.
Just give it an 8.
I'll give it a fuck. I'll give it an 8, but it's somehow better than Inception.
Okay, Johnny.
7.
7.
Doctor Strange, yeah?
Yeah.
6.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
No.
Not seen.
7, maybe an 8. 7, probably. Better than the first one. Hot take.
5.
You need to watch
It's
that.
not that good.
You need to watch that.
No, I don't.
You
It's
do.
not that good.
It's better than the first one.
Not a chance.
It's way better than the first
No
one.
way.
It's got a villain. It's got good villains.
It's got
Guardians
scenes.
has got a good villain.
No, it doesn't. It's got
Has a
Ronan
villain.
the Accuser. Ronan's better than Kurt Russell. He's Alright. Spider-Man: Homecoming. Tony.
8.
Johnny.
Not seen.
Low 8.
8. Ethan. Ethan's all laughing at Ronan the Accuser.
Ronan.
Homecoming. Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Oh, 6.
6. 6. Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah, it's good.
You're very harsh.
It's fine.
You're very harsh, and you've got Gringo. 7. I mean,
Gringo's like a 4, mate. But it's still in my top 20.
so you give it a 6.
It's like mate, it's probably less than a 4.
Thank God. Alright, Thor Ragnarok.
9.
Joe.
It's. I'll go 9.
Ethan, can you go?
Yes, an 8. Best film of MCU.
I am going to make this my coming out that Thor Ragnarok is a 9 out of 10. It's so fucking good. Alright, I think that's going to be the highest one.
Yeah.
Black Panther. If you don't say 10, you're a racist. Tony.
8. Racist guys.
I've not seen it, so I am
Yeah.
also a racist.
It's a 7. Ethan.
Forrest Whitaker's pretty crap in it, isn't he?
It's like 8. It might be a
6.
7. I don't know. I'm undecided.
Alright, Avengers: Infinity War. Tony.
10.
Johnny.
Not seen it.
Me, it's a 9.
7.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
No, haven't seen.
Not seen it.
Low 7.
5.
Okay, we're done. We just